This, it sounds in English, human remains, but really in our language, still they are not yet remains. For us, they are still living. We haven't buried them. We haven't buried them. And most of them, they are the heads. Of course, in English, they will call them skulls. But for me, they are not skulls. They are heads. Skulls is when you walk in Serengeti Park, you will find skulls lying everywhere, skulls of buffaloes, lions, leopards, and so on. Those are skulls. But these heads of my ancestors who were hanged, then after hanged, been chopped off, and their own relatives, wives, they have to take the skin out and cook them, and then the Europeans pack them to bring them to Europe here for so known as researchers. But at that time, what kind of a research? Not really researches like about the diseases or whatsoever. At that time, it was pure racial research, because they didn't believe that these Africans, they used to call not even Africans, wild. They are not even that intelligent compared to animals. But then when we start, our ancestors, to defend themselves, so then they were somehow confused. And that's why they had to take these heads to look what is really in there, doing measurements and all this and that and that. And still, these human remains are still there, here. And you find them not just only in museums, they are even in the clinics, in the universities. And even in the universities, still nowadays, they are doing research on them about criminals and something like that, about criminality and something like that. In Göttingen, they are doing that. So, and these are our ancestors. You find that, for instance, in Göttingen University, still they have a lot of them, and still they are doing researches on them, for instance, with the police about criminality and something like that. I was there, and they are going to have a kind of exhibition next year. It was to start this year, but because of Corona, not yet. But now, look here, this human remains. People back at home, they are waiting for them. They are waiting for them. You come to areas like in the southern part of Tanzania, where Maji colonial war took place. The British, they call it, Maji Rebellion. They are calling people who are defending their own country, their own property. They are rebels. And some of them were hanged and also heads been chopped off and brought to Germany. And you find we have graves there where you find 2/3, it is totally filled of earth, and 1/3, it is a hole, a very deep one, more than a meter. And they clean it now and then. If leaves of trees fall in it, they clean, because still they are waiting for this head, which is not yet there. And they are hoping still, me too, hoping that one day we are going to manage to have them back and buried according to our own tradition and properly. And now you're telling me your government doesn't demand it. When they took them, we didn't have this government, this so-called central government. We had these communities, and these communities, they have their own government at that time. So, and they're the ones for me now to demand, and we are demanding them back. And also, we are there also to push our own governments. They have to stop about this so-called development aid. This development aid is not development aid. And even if the money would be used somewhere, they're just only handicapping us to be dependent on them. So long we're dependent on them, then they're still ruling us as it was before, because we are depending on them. They are the ones to tell us where to go, left or right, or straight ahead and so on. They are the ones still. But really, let me go back to the human remains there, I don't think that it will still stay the way it is. They have to bring them back, and they should also afford the costs, because you find we ourselves as a community, because I've been talking to some say yes, we want them back, but they asked me a question, but Mboro, when they give them back, how are we going to transport them back home? We don't have that money. Who's going to support us? So if I lower their stones in this path, and because they're the ones who brought them here illegally, they're the ones who has to face the cost and so on. And that's what I'm saying. We, as African, as communities, as diasporas who are here, we are the ones, because we are near to them. We are the ones to try to do our best. Those back at home, they can just only write a demand and end. Yeah? But we are the ones to tell you, okay, the demand is already there, and we have really to see that. And that is our work.